Greetings, fellow MANAU historians, classmates. Beginning with the first question of the prompt, what events led to the start of World War II? That definitely can trace its roots back to World War I. Something Dr. Shivers had pointed out. The Germans were on Russian soil, they were on French soil when the armistice was signed. Now, to the homeland, that seemed confusing. To the young German spirit of conquest and superiority, it was very difficult for them to process. To them, it felt as if there was a traitor in their midst, and that kind of, I think that left a hunger for a second chance, because Germany hadn't suffered the kind of infrastructure loss, the kind of agricultural loss that the other countries had suffered during the conflict. I think that left them with a penchant still for war, a thirst. They hadn't. I think it would have been different if the war had ravaged Germany and the people of Germany had to see their country rebuilt. Not that there wasn't any damage done, not that there wasn't any conflict that really happened on German soil, because there was, but not like the damage that the French had seen or that the surrounding countries of Germany had seen. The second thing that I think really needs to be understood is the Treaty of Versailles and the way that the agreements that were made in the treaty without representation of the Germans, because the German government was seen as capitulating, surrendering, and so what was crafted was punitive. The things that were done in terms of taking away the land of Austria and the Rhineland, elements of the treaty were the first things that Hitler tried to undo. So it's curious, because was it the Treaty of Versailles that really led to the reignition of the conflict, or was it the undoing of the Treaty of Versailles that really led to the conflict? Because Hitler needed the Rhineland, he needed Austria, he needed that economic engine, or at least he wanted that economic engine, he wanted that infrastructure and commerce. And when Hitler decided to declare war, 1939, his invasion of Poland is seen as the start of the war. But if he had to start, if geographically he was positioned so that his first conquest was the Rhineland or Austria, it would have been a different scheme. It would have, and if he'd had to, instead of having years to tool those factories and to harness that the economy of those territories, if he would have had to conquer them first, it would have played out a lot differently. So that kind of goes to the question of appeasement. I think a more fair approach that could have helped prevent the war was letting the people in Austria, letting the people in the Rhineland democratically decide, do they want to leave Germany or do they want to remain part of Germany? Establish democracies there, let those people vote on it versus just kind of annexing those lands. That would have really changed the dynamic. It would kind of like what we have in Ukraine and Russia, with Russians saying they have the right to the Ukraine, that's their territory, but it's its own democracy, it's its own government, and those people don't want to be a part of Russia. So that conflict, if the United Nations unilaterally agreed and America unilaterally agreed to disarm Ukraine and to allow Russia to basically make Ukraine a territory of the Russian government, when Putin decides to invade Europe, he would be that much closer to his goals. So appeasement never works with a despot.